Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 1-3 of October-November 2012. Now, with that being said, obviously, let's move on to question number 1. So here we have to find the coefficient of x power 3. So pretty easy. We can expand this. So 7, combination something. Then we have the first term and minus half x. Now, if you want something in power 3, we can have power 3 here. If this is 3, this also will be 3. 7 minus 3 is 4. That will give you what? 7 choose 3. That should be 35. 2 power 4 is what? 2 power 4 should be 16. And that should be minus 1 over 2 power 3 is 8. And that should be x power 3. Now simplify. This will go away. And that should be 2. And that should be minus 70 x power 3. Now the coefficient is obviously the value in front of this. That should be just minus 70 as your answer. Now let's move on to the next question. It is given that f of x is given to you by this. We can rewrite this as what? That will be x power minus 3 minus x power 3. Now we have to show that f is a decreasing function. So pretty easy. To show it is a decreasing function, we have to find f prime of x, which is d by dx of this one. So differentiate, you will have what? F prime of x will be minus 3. That should be minus 4 here, and minus 3x squared. That will be minus 3 over the value of x power 4, and minus 3 over the value of x squared. Sorry, x squared is on top. So let me write this out again. So we realize that f inverse of x, so not inverse, f prime of x is equal to minus 3 over x power 4 and minus 3 over x, so x power 2 here, not over x. Okay, so one thing we can do now is what? We can kind of play with this. We can mention that, for example, we can say that x can be any value in the real domain. So x can take any value. We understand that x power 4 will always be more than 0, and x power 2 always be more than 0, always be positive, if that makes sense, right? Now for x, okay, for x more than 0, this is always the case, right? Now we understand that if you take a negative number, divide by the positive number, this will give you a negative number, right? Now here, we take minus 3 times x squared will give you a negative number. Now when you take a negative number minus a negative number, it will give you a negative number. So hence, from this, you can write, since f prime of x seems to be less than 0, for any value of x, it shows that f of x is a decreasing function. So that's what you have to show. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. So here we have to solve the equation 7 cos x plus 5 equal to this. Now we can change that to what? 2 times 1 minus cos square x. Send everything to one side, you will have. So expand, you have 2 minus 2 cos square x. Send everything to the left hand side, you will have 2 cos square x plus 7 cos x plus 5 minus 2 will be plus 3. Now we have a quadratic equation we can solve by factorization. That will be 2 cos x, and that will be cos x. Now here we have 3. That should be 3 times 1. If you need plus 7, that will be plus 6 plus 1. So cos x will be the value of minus half, and cos x will be the value of minus 3. Now obviously this one will not be possible because cos x can only be between the value of minus 1 and 1. So we have only this one to solve. Now pretty easy. When cos is negative, it will have to be in this quadrant and this one. This is the value of 180 minus theta, and this is 180 plus theta. Now here we have negative, right? So we have to first find the value of theta. Theta is not your answer. It will be cos inverse of the positive value of this one. That will be 60 degrees. So we use theta to find the value of x that we actually want by using the quadrants. That will be 180 minus 60, that will be 120. And then we have 180 plus 60, that will be 240. Okay, so that is the two values of x for which we have this equation to be true. Okay, that will be solving a trigonometry equation. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. In the diagram, D lies on the side AB, okay, of the triangle. Now we have ABC, and CD is an arc of a circle right here, center A. So if this is 2, this also will be 2, right? Now, what else do we know? The line BC is of length 2 root 3, okay, and is perpendicular to AC, okay. Now find the area of the region here, giving you an answer in terms of this and this. Okay, so let's see what can we do. So how would you find this area? So by observation, we will first find the area of the whole thing and minus the area of sector. So what is the area of the whole thing? Pretty easy. It is half times base times height. It is area of a triangle. That should be 2 root 3. So area of the whole thing is 2 root 3. Now how would you find the area of this one? So that will be area of a sector. So we need to find the angle right here. So how would you find the angle? So we can again use SOHCAHTOA because it is a right angle triangle. We can use that. So this is my opposite side and this will be my A side. So we have to use tan. So tan of the angle A have to be the opposite side over the A side. Now if you cancel out, so A will be tan inverse of root 3. We have to use degrees just to check. That will be 60 degrees, which means that is pi by 3. So the angle here is pi over 3. Now to find the area of this one, that will be half all square angle pi over 3. That will be 2 pi over 3. So finally, the area that we are looking for is the area of the whole thing, which is 2 root 3 minus this one, that should be 2 pi over 3. To get this one, we have to write centimeters square for the area. Now let's move on to the next question. The first term of a GP is 5 1/3, which is A is 5 1/3. The fourth term is A r power 3 is 2 1 this. We can rewrite this as 2 times 4 plus 1 is 9 over 4. And this could be 16 over 3. Okay. Again, because we know it is a GP, so the nth term is given to you by A, R, and minus 1. So fourth term will be A of power 3. Okay, so here we have two equations, equation number 1, equation number 2. Now we can solve simultaneously to find the value of R. So here we have A, replace A here, you have 16 over 3, R power 3 is equal to 9 over 4. So R power 3, that will be what? 9 times 3, 4 times 60. That will be 27 over the value of 64. So R will be what? Cubic root of that will give you 0.75. That is my value of R. Now, part 2, we have to find the sum to infinity. Pretty easy. Sum to infinity will be A, which is 16 over 3, divided by 1 minus 0.75, which is R. So 16 divided by 3, divided by 0.25. That should be 21 1 over 3 as my sum to infinity for this question. So let's move on to the next question. The functions f and g are defined by the following, where x is between the value of minus half pi and half pi. Okay. Now we know f of x is given to you by this, and g of x is given to you by this. Okay. So solve the following equations for the value of x if part 1, g of f of x is equal to 1. So let's solve. So what is g of f of x? So g of f of x is actually cos of f of x, which is cos f of x is half x plus 1 over 6. This is equal to 1. Now cos is positive. It will be in the first quadrant and in this quadrant. Okay, so half of x plus 1 over 6, this will be cos inverse of 1. So cos inverse of 1 is equal to 0 degrees. That would be, so half x plus 1 over 6 pi is equal to 0 degrees, but also could be 360 degrees. That could be just 0 and 2 pi in terms of radians. Now we have to solve for the value of x, obviously, so 1 by 1. So half x will be minus 1 over 6 pi, and then here will be 2 minus 1 over 6, that should be 1, 5 over 6 pi. So x will be what? Multiplied by 2, that should be 1 over 3 this, and times 2, that should be 3, 2 this pi. Now we understand that the value of x have to be between the value of what? So if you look at this, what is that? So here have to be 90 degrees, which is half pi, and minus 90 degrees, which is needs to be in these two quadrants. So which is minus 90 to 90, which is minus pi, half pi, and half pi. So let's see, which one can we choose? What is the value of x? So in terms of, has to be in terms of pi, exact values. So what is this value? So let me write this down. So pi divided by 2, that should be, one side is minus 5.7, this is 1.57, sorry. So what is pi divided by 3? It is 1.05, which is inside this, so this is good. Now this one, we have 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 is 11, so 11 divided by 3 times pi, that will be the value of 11.5. It is too much. Now we can try and see if we have any other values of x that is possible. Now when you have a negative value, we can add 360 to see what happened. That should be minus 1 over 3 plus 360 is 2 pi, or 2. That will be 2 over 3. And that will be just too much, right? So how about we try to minus now? Because we always have to play with them, minus or plus, to see if they fall inside these two quadrants. So this one we try to plus 2 pi, but it seems it is too much, so it's not possible. Now for this one, we have 3 over 2 over 3. Let's try to minus 2. You have this is still too much, so the only value here is this one. So x will be the value of minus 1 over 3 pi. Again, just to explain, the main idea is that after you find your angles, we choose which one fall inside the domain, right? We see only one of them falls inside the domain. Now we want to try and see if we have other values possible. For example, since we have half here, we can try. Okay, let's say we have to add 360 degrees, which is 2 pi, add 360, or minus 360, to see if those values lie inside of the domain. Now we checked it is not possible, so the only value will be this one remaining. Now for part 2, we have to find this one. That will be f of g of x. That will be f of is half g of x plus 1 over 6 pi. That should be half g of x is cos x plus 1 over 6 pi is equal to 0. So equal to 1. So equal to 1. So simplify. So cos x will be what? Will be 1 minus 1 over 6 pi multiplied by 2. Right. So cos x will be the value of what? So 1 minus pi over 6 times 2, 0.9528. So cos is positive, it will be in the first quadrant and in the fourth quadrant. This is your value of x. That will be 360 minus x, or it can be 2 pi minus x. Because here we have to use radians, because the angle are given in radians, we have to use this here. That will be x is cos inverse of 0.9528 in radians. That will be 0.308. That will be the value of x here, and this one will be 2 pi minus answer. That should be 5.97. Okay, so now what else? Now we have to check and see if we have the other angles which lie in the negative side. So let's try to minus 2 pi and see what happens. So 5.97 minus 2 pi, that will give you minus 0.313. Now you can see clearly minus 0.313 lies inside this range, so obviously we can take those values as well. That will be x can be minus 0.313 and 0.308 for the two values of x. Again, you can see the reason why I did minus here is because I did realize that x is also on the negative side. There's a reason why they give you this, so we have to test and see if it is on the negative side. So when you have those two values left, we know this is inside the range, that's okay. But this one is clearly outside. We can try to kind of minus 2 pi or plus 2 pi to test if it is going to be on the negative side, and we see that it actually is, so we can use those two values as your answer for part 2 of your question. So now let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows part of the curve y equal to 11 minus x squared, okay, and part of the straight line y equal to 5 minus x. So here we have a straight line, here we have a curve. They are meeting at the point A, which is PQ right here. Now where P and Q are positive values, okay, as we can see on the diagram. So we have to find the values of P and Q. That's the first question. So how would you find P and Q? You can see they meet at this point, so this is the point of intersection. So let's do this. Here we have y, here we have y, we can solve simultaneously. On one side you have 11 minus x squared, and that will be 5 minus x. Send everything to one side, you will have x squared minus x plus 5 minus 11, that should be minus 6, equal to 0. Now we can factorize, that should be x times x. 6 is 3 times 2. To get minus 1, we have to have minus 3 plus 2. X will be minus 2, x will be the value of 3. Now obviously we will take this one because it is supposed to be positive value here of 3. So what is y? Y will be 5 minus 3 is 2. So that will be 2. So the point A will be 3 and 2. The value of P is 3 and the value of Q is 2. Now for part 2, the function f is defined for the domain x is more than 0. Okay. Now as we can see here, f of x is equal to 11 minus x squared, which is this curve. For the values of x is between 0 and p is 3, more than 3. Express f inverse of x in a similar way. So pretty easy, one by one. Let y equal to 11 minus x squared. So x squared will be 11 minus y. So x will be root of y minus this. So f inverse of x will be, this is obviously plus minus, right? So plus minus root of 11 minus x. Now we have to choose which one is possible. Obviously we will keep the positive value here because it is on the positive side. That should be 11 minus x. And for this one, let y be the value of, here we have what? 5 minus x. X will be the value of 5 minus y, so it means f inverse of x will be the value of 5 minus x. So we can write this down. F inverse, it is in terms of x, that will be. So first we have root 11 minus x, and here we have 5 minus x. Now we have to write the domain of f inverse, so we can use our common sense. As you can see here, the value of x, it can always be less or equal to the value of 11, because we cannot have anything, we cannot do square root of a negative value here. That's the reason why, okay? Because here the value have always to be positive, that is why it has to be this value. And here you can see x is this, we can use this one. Here can be anything. So x, 5 minus x. What is the range of our, so domain, let me write this down. Domain of f inverse is the range of f. So we can find the range of f for this one. As you can see, the range of f here is any values less than the value of 2. So domain will be x have to be anything less than the value of 2. That will be domain of this. Again, this is not equal here. We can take out the value equal here. Okay. Now how about this one? If you observe well, let's use the same logic here. So here what do we have? Domain of f inverse is the same as the range of f. So let's have a look up here. So we understand that this is the value of what? On the y-axis, it is x equal to 0. That should be 11. So the range of this is between the value of 11 and 2. So we know the range of this function is between the value of 2 and 11. So we also have to limit this here. For example, I have to also show I have a limit here of 2. So finally, your function is this, and your range will be, your domain will be this, and your function is this, your domain will be this. Again, this will not be here because I have marked this here. Okay, and that will be your question part 2 for your functions question. So let's move on to the next question. dy by dx is given to you by this. Now we have to find d2y by dx2, so pretty easy. That will be what? First thing first, multiply by the power. 3 over 2 times 2, so that should be 3. 3x plus 4, then we have to minus 1, that should be half, multiplied by 3, minus 6. That will be 9, 3x plus 4. This and minus 6 will be d2y by dx2. Now for part 2, we have to verify the curve has this stationary point when x equal to this. So let's find out. We know when this happens, dy by dx have to be 0. So let's equate. We have 2, 3x plus 4, 3 over 2 minus 6x minus 8 have to be 0. Now we can try to kind of simplify this, or we can just replace the value inside. For example, when x equals to minus 1, what happens? You have 2 here, 3 minus 1 plus 4, 3 over 2 minus 6 minus 1 minus 8. That should be 2, and that should be 1 minus the value of plus 6, actually, minus 8. That should be 8 minus 8 equal to 0. So you have shown that, at the value of x equal to minus 1, we have shown dy by dx is equal to 0. Hence, this point at x equal to minus 1 is a stationary point. Okay. Now we have to find the nature. To find the nature, we have to look at d2y by dx2. So d2y by dx2 at the value of x equal to minus 1. That will be what? 9, 3 times minus 1 plus 4 power half minus 6. That should be 9 times 1 minus 6. That should be 3. If it is a positive value, it means it is a minimum point. Now moving on, it is now given that the stationary point is minus 1, 5. So we have to find the equation of the curve, which is the value of y. So to find the value of y, we have to integrate dy by dx, which is 2, 3x plus 4 power 3 over 2 minus 6x minus 8 respect to dx. That will be what? 2 is just 2. First, we have to increase the power by 1. That should be 5 over 2. Divide by 5 over 2. Then divide by 3, which is d by dx of the value inside. Then minus 6x squared over 2 minus 8x plus c. That is y. Now we have to find the value of c. That should be 3. And let's see what happens. That will be 4. So that will be 4. That will be 15. And that should be 3x plus 4, 5 over 2 minus 3x squared minus 8x plus c. That is y. And the passing point is minus 1, 5. We can use that to find the value of c. This is x and y. Replace back in your equation. Here we have 5. That will be 4 over 15, and that will be 3 times minus 1 plus 4, 5 over 2, minus 3 times 1 minus 8 times minus 1 plus c. So let's see what happens here. So here we have, that should be 1, right? Because minus 3 plus 4 is 1. 1 anything, power anything should be 1. That should be 4 over 15. Minus 3 plus 8 plus c is 5. So 4 over 15 minus 3 plus 8 is this value. So 5 minus answer should be this. So c is minus 4 over 15. So let's double check. Yep, it is right. So finally, we can write down the equation of the curve is y. Y is 4 over 15, 3x plus 4, 5 power 2, minus 3x squared minus 8x minus 4 over 15. Okay, and that is your equation of your curve y. That is part 3 of your question. Now let's move on to the next question. The points, the position vectors of a and b are given to you as follows, where p is a constant. Now part 1, in the case where OAB is a straight line, state the value of p and find the unit vector in the direction of OA. So let's think. So what happens if OAB is a straight line? So pretty easy. If OAB is a straight line, we can form an equation. O, A, and B. So we can say, if they are collinear, we can say OA is a multiple of OB. So from here we can form P11 is equal to K times OB, which is 4 2P. So that will be P is equal to 4K, 1 is equal to 2K, and 1 is equal to K times P. So from here we can realize that K have to be the value of 1 over 2. So what else? So hence the value of P will be 4 times 1 over 2. That should be the value of 2. So state the value of P. P will be the value of 2. Find the unit vector in direction of OA. So what is OA now? OA will be the value of 2, 1, 1. So what is the magnitude of OA? That should be root of 4 plus 1 plus 1. That should be root of 6. So finally, the unit vector in direction of OA, that should be 2, 1, 1 over root 6. That'll be part 1 of the question. Now for part 2, in the case where OA and OB, they are perpendicular to AB, so OA is perpendicular to AB, we have to find the possible values of P. So we have OA. What is AB? AB is defined by OB minus OA. So let's find that first. OB is 4, 2P minus OA, P11. That is 4 minus P, that will be 1, P minus 1. Now we understand that if they are perpendicular, which means the dot product of OA and AB should be giving you the value of 0 if they are perpendicular. So we can replace, that will be P11 dot product of 4 minus P, 1 and P minus 1, that should be 0. From here we can simplify, that should be what? P minus P squared plus 1 plus P minus 1 is 0. Now we can simplify, obviously, that should be minus P squared. This will cancel out. And we have plus 5P is 0. We can factorize P outside. You will have 5 minus P is 0. So P will be 0 or P could be 5. So these are the two values of P. Now for part 3, in the case where P is 3, if P is 3, we have OA, that should be 3, 1, 1. OB should be 4, 2, 3. Okay, the point C is such that OABC is a parallelogram. So let's see what can we derive from this shape. So for example, the shape could be something like this. O, A, B, and C. Right. This is the shape, so we understand that these two have to be in the same direction, and these two have to be the same direction as well, and the same length. Now, to find the position vector of C, so we have to find OC. So how would you find OC? So if you find, we understand that, so OC is the same thing as AB, so we can find this pretty easily. Or we can say that according to the diagram, we understand that OC have to be the same as AB, as you can see clearly here, right, on the diagram. So OC is AB. AB is given to you by 4 minus P, is 4 minus 3 is, as you can see here, 4 minus P, it is 1, and we have 1 and then 2. OC will be 1, 1, 2 according to the diagram. Okay, and that will be your question, part 3, finding the position vector of C. Now let's move on to the next question. A straight line has equation y equal to minus 2x plus k, and a curve have equation y equal to this. Okay, so we have 3 equations. Part 1, we have to show the x value of any points of intersection, all given to you by this equation, so pretty easy. To find the point of intersection, we have to solve a simultaneous equation. So on one side you will have 2x plus k is equal to 2 over x minus 3. So now obviously we will have to cross multiply. You will have minus 2x plus k multiplied by x minus 3 have to be 2. And that will give you what? Let's see. Minus 2x squared plus 6x plus kx minus 3k have to be 2. So minus 2x squared, that should be factorized as 6 plus k x minus 3k minus 2. And then we can send everything to the other side. That will become 2x squared minus 6 plus k x and plus 2 plus 3k equal to 0. This is shown as required as part 1. Now for part 2, we have to find the two values of k for which the line is a tangent to the circle. If it is a tangent to the circle, it means they meet at only one point, which means we have to look at b squared minus 4ac have to be 0. So that will be 6 plus k squared minus 4 times a times c have to be 0. Let's try to simplify. That should be 36 plus 18k plus k squared minus, this is 8, so that will be minus 16 minus 24k have to be 0. Now simplify k squared, 18 minus 24, that should be minus 6. And we have 36 minus this should be minus plus 20. Now we can factorize, obviously. That should be k times k. And here we can have what? 5 times 4, 20. What can we do with 20? Let's think. 4 times 5, is it going to work? No. 2 times 10, this is not going to work either. So let's think if I made a mistake somewhere or not. That should be 24 here. So plus 18. This is not 18, this is actually 12. Sorry for this mistake. So 2 times this is 12. So 12, this should be minus 12. So now we are talking. So when you have minus 12 here, we have 10 here, and we have 2. That could be minus 10 minus 2 to get the value of minus 12. So k should be 2, and k should be the value of 10. So these are the two values of k. So be careful with the expansion, because you don't want to make any silly mistakes. Now, the two tangents given by the values of k, found in part 2, touch the curve at the point A and the point B. So we have to find the point A and the point B and find the equation of line AB. So let's find the points. When k is equal to the value of 2, what is the equation? It will be, replace here, you will have 2x squared. So here we have 6 plus 2 is 8, so minus 8x. 2 plus 3 times 2 is 6, that will be plus 8, have to be 0. We can divide by 2 everywhere. You will have x squared minus 4x plus 4 have to be 0. So factorize, that will be x times x. 4 is 2 times 2. Minus 4 is minus 2 minus 2. So x can be the value of 2. Now what is the corresponding value of y? Replace back in your main equation back up here. Minus 2x plus k, so minus 2x minus 2 times 2 plus k. That should be the value of minus 2. So the point A, or the point here, is 2 minus 2. Now for this one, we can choose the value of k to be 10. Let's see what happens. Replace back in here. You will have 2x squared. Here we have 16, so minus 16x, and here you have 32. Have to be 0. Divide by 2, you have this, minus 8x, plus 16 have to be 0. Now factorize, x times x, 16 is 4 times 4. To get minus 8, we have to have minus 4 minus 4. X will be the value of 4. Now what is the value of y? Replace back in your equation. That will be minus 2 times 4, and plus k, which is 10. That should be the value of 2. That will be the point 42. This is my point B. This is my point A. Now we have to find the equation of a line AB. So pretty easy. We must first find the gradient AB. That will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That should be 4 over 2. That should be 2. Now we have a passing point, x and y value. Y minus minus 2 over x minus 2 have to be the gradient. Now we cross multiply, you will have y plus 2 have to be 2x minus 4. So y will have to be 2x minus 6. That is my equation of line AB. That is part 3 of your question. So let's move on to the next question. So the diagram shows a curve with the equation y equal to x times this. Now the first thing what I can do is I can first expand the whole thing. For example, I do understand we can have y, so x. This is what? This is x squared minus 4x plus 4, which is x power 3 minus 4x squared plus 4x. This is your value of y. Now, the minimum point on the curve has coordinates. This is right here. This is the minimum point of the curve, and the maximum point is the point B. Okay, the x value is B right here. This is the maximum point. Okay, where A and B are constants. So part 1, we have to state the value of A. So pretty easy. The value of A is on the x-axis when the value of y is 0. Replace back in your equation, you will have what? So that will be 0 here. You will have x minus 2 squared. That will be x can be 0, or x minus 2 squared can be 0. So x minus 2 can be 0, so x can be 2. So this value here will be the value of 2. So the A will be the value of 2. Now we have to find the value of B. How would you find that? So we know the value of B is also a stationary point. So what do we know at stationary point? We know the value of dy by dx have to be 0. So let's find dy by dx. So dy by dx will be 3x squared minus 8x plus 4. We can equate that to 0. Now we can factorize, obviously. That will be 3x times x. And here we have 4. 4 is 2 times 2. To get minus 8, we have to have minus 6 minus 2. So x will be 2 over 3. X will be 2. Again, if you don't know how to factorize, you can always use your formula to find the values of x. Now obviously, this will not be the answer because this is this already. We don't need this one. X will be this one. So what is the corresponding value of b? It is the x value. B will be 2 over 3. Now for part 3, we have to find the area of the region. So pretty easy. What is that area? It is simply the area under the curve between those 2 points. It will be limits of 2 and 0. And the curve is given to you by x cubed 4x squared plus 4x dx. So let's solve. You will have x power 4 over 4 minus 4x power 3 over 3 plus 2x squared, and then we have limits of 2 and 0. So simplify, let's see what happens. That will be what? That will be 2 power 4 is 16 divided by 4, that should be 4. So 4 minus 4 over 3, that should be 8 plus 2 times 4. And then minus the value, everything here with x will be 0. That'll be 4 minus 4 over 3 times 8 plus 8. That should be 1 over 3. Or you can write 4 over 3 units square for the area of that region. Now for part 4 of the question, the gradient dy by dx of the curve has a minimum at the value of m. So find the value of m. So pretty easy. When the gradient has a minimum, we have to differentiate the gradient. d by dx of gradient is what? That will be, so we know the gradient is given by this, so do we differentiate this? What happens? It will become 6x minus 8. Then we have to equate that to 0. That should be x is 8 over 6, which is the value of 4 over 3. So the gradient has a minimum value when x is equal to this. So what is the minimum value? So we have to find dy by dx at the value of 4 over 3. Replace back in your equation. That will be 3 times 4 over 3 square minus 8 4 over 3 plus 4. That will be 3 times 16 over 9 minus 8 4 over 3 plus 4. That should be minus 1 over 3, which is minus 4 over 3, which is the minimum value of the gradient. Okay, and that will be part 4 of your question.